And there you go, images from Solar Impulse 2. Images of Solar Impulse 2 above the clouds, and we'll be speaking to André Borschberg very soon on our Energy Neutral morning show. And I have with me a special guest, it's Deniz Borschberg, one of his sons. Hello, Deniz.
Hello, Connor.
A bit of a surprise for André. I don't think he was expecting to speak to you, and I wonder if we can speak to him already. Now, André, if you can hear me, there's a bit of a delay, but we'd love to have a chat with you now. Well, that is one hell of a delay, or he can't hear us. Okay, well, we'll try him a little bit later. But for now, Deniz, well, let's get back to you. I mean, you've come over here to speak to us in the Monaco Mission Control Center, and you've been following this flight from the beginning up until now. And how is it for you as well? Is it difficult for you to watch everything that's happening, or are you quite relaxed?
Well, you know, it's not always easy to have your father flying above this huge Pacific Ocean in these extreme and quite difficult conditions. But I have to say I'm not stressed. I'm not stressed at all for multiple reasons. The first being that André is just an amazing pilot and so talented. And moreover, he's supported by this incredible team behind us. So I'm really confident on the flights.
And he just took both his hands off the wheel as well. If it was anyone else, I'd be worried, but I think he can handle it. Okay, let's see if we can speak to André now. André, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Hi, Connor. Hi, Deniz.
Hi, Dad.
So, André, as I was saying, we have a bit of a delay, around about a 4...
I have a terrible echo. I have a terrible echo, so I don't know if we can get this, if we can get rid of this.
Okay, well, we'll wait for the Swisscom guys here to sort that out. I was just saying, André, there's around a 4-second delay, so we'll have to be a bit careful about how we speak to you. I think what we'll do, we'll start with Deniz, and he's sitting right next to me, and if you have a message for André right now.
Dad, I feel that you are doing an amazing flight, and you're really enjoying your time up there. How is it in that cockpit? How do you feel?
I feel absolutely great, especially, I mean, every day, but especially this morning. But you know, there is something which is amazing. I'm very stressed by the by the amount of activities we have to do. People have the impression maybe that, you know, we have 5 days, 5 nights here, that we may be bored, not enough time. But if I look at what we have to do this morning, we'll count every minute for all the activities. Maybe because it also takes time here to do the work. But no, it's really fantastic, and I can live the present moment. That's what is also extremely fascinating. You know, the ocean is huge, so for me it doesn't mean anything if I'm here, if I'm there. I'm in this ocean, I'm over this ocean, I have many days, many nights, and I just take one step after next and focus on what I do. I will try to do my yoga afterwards. I couldn't do it yet because we had some technical problems. And then step by step, it's already day 4. I mean, I can't believe it's day 4.
André, this is Connor. I have a question for you. There's something that's not quite right about this picture. You look about 10 years younger than when you took off. So are you really in the plane, or are you actually on the ground somewhere?
Oh, we have a fantastic partner, Clarence, and I use all their products as well in the airplane. It's no joke, but that's true. Huh? So, you know, it certainly helps a lot.
And this is also a cockpit that it's not heated. it's not pressurized, and you're dealing with some pretty extreme temperature ranges outside. So I know there's insulation in the cockpit, but to what extent does that keep you comfortable?
It does. You know, it makes my home. This insulation allows me to be able to live 24 hours a day comfortably. I was never cold, and I'm never too warm. That's true that I change clothes, so I have to adapt a little bit. But the insulation plays an important role. And this was a challenge we gave to our partner Bayer Material Science when they joined, and we asked them, can you build this cockpit? So that's the part which protects me. Can you build an insulation, but which is extremely light? We talk about a few kilograms here. We don't talk about more. Which we could use and which could make the shape of the cockpit in the same place, and really provide this protection. And they build up a team which worked extremely closely with our engineers, because that's something that you have to be in very strong collaboration. And they came with a prototype, and then they came with this solution. So the life is really possible in this environment without any heating systems, without any air conditioning. And that's maybe what we could do also in some other applications.
Now, of course, flying this plane, you can sleep for around about maximum 20-minute periods, and you try and get as many of those periods in throughout every 24 hours of this flight. But you don't look particularly tired, and maybe you're hiding it, but you look like you're enjoying it as if you could go on. Do you think you're becoming more sustainable as the flight goes on?
That's the morning, and our body is building up its energy at sunrise. So I'm benefiting for the normal cycle. But I have to say the night was a little bit harder, because we had turbulence at different places. And when you get turbulence, of course, you get waken up immediately, and the airplane may be in a strange position, so you really have to focus. Without the brain functioning, you have to focus. So the way I do it is that I have one specific instrument in this cockpit, which I make it much lighter in terms of illumination, so I can quickly know where it's located when I'm still, trying to wake up. And I know I have to focus on this instrument only to stabilize the airplane. Then I identify where the problem comes from, what I have to do, and so on. And slowly my brain is picking up, is waking up, a little bit in the same way as when you reboot your computer. It always gets too long, but for me it was the same. I mean, it really always got too long. So I got rest, but it's still stressful, because I wake up every 20 minutes or every 10 to 20 minutes, and each time it's an alarm, and each time it's adrenaline which gets into the body. So then you have to cool down again to get into sleep. So you learn to manage this cycle. But this night was a little bit harder than the night before, which was very calm.
Now, I know, André, you don't like talking about records. You've already said that this is not the reason you're doing this, although you are breaking records every second that you're in the air from now on. So I'm going to put the question to Deniz, who's with me instead. Now, Deniz, when André lands in Hawaii, he's going to be all around the world. He's going to be on the front page of all the newspapers and all the TV reports. He's being a bit modest. He doesn't want to talk about it. So what's it going to be like for you and the rest of the family?
It's gonna be amazing, and we really look forward to be with him and enjoy this time with him. And that's true. He's really being modest, and we can only be proud of him. The whole family. I'm speaking about on the name of all of them: my brother, my sister, and my mother. And we are really proud of him and what he's achieving.
Okay, well, and also I know, André, you've said that you don't want to look too far ahead. You're still taking it one moment at a time, one day at a time. But I'll just give you one word of advice for everyone in the Borschberg family. Change your mobile phone numbers now before it's too late. André, thank you very much.
Have a safe flight. Looking forward to see you on the ground.
Thanks very much. André Borschberg speaking to us live here on Solar Impulse TV. And yes, the longest ever solar aviation flight. And also, we're going to get the confirmation as well soon during the show as well about the longest ever solo flight in any kind of aviation as well. So we will confirm that for you a little later on. Thank you very much, Deniz, and for sticking with us. Oh, this is important as well, and glad we can have a look at this. Now, we're talking about energy neutral morning, which we haven't had a chance to explain in detail because we've been speaking to André, but energy neutral morning is a really crucial part of every day. This is the point at which the sun will take up the slack, the sun will propel the plane and also recharge the batteries so we can get on right through the day and make sure that we have enough energy to get us through the following night. So energy neutral morning coming up in just over 8 minutes time, and we will be waiting for that with bated breath. So just 8 minutes time before we get to that point, crucial point. Look at this as well, 72 hours and 6 minutes since André Borschberg took off. I mean, it's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, that's a hell of a long time to be on your own in an aircraft up there. And just 41 hours, I say just, I mean, it's still extraordinary to carry on for this long. 41 hours and 47 minutes until landing in Hawaii. So there is still quite a way to go. Now, we heard there André talking about the cockpit insulation, about the fact that he hasn't really been that cold or that warm, in fact. We've seen him changing clothes to get more comfortable. But because of the insulation, the advanced insulation that we have inside this cockpit, André has managed to stay fairly comfortable. I mean, outside it can range from -40 to +40. And this is an unheated, unpressurized cockpit. He mentioned Biomaterial Science a little earlier, one of our partners who helped put together and really develop these new materials, these polyurethane materials that would allow this insulation to be as effective as possible. And I spoke to Bernd Roth from BMS a little earlier today. Okay, Bernd, let's go back to the beginning of your involvement with this project. How did the collaboration start, and what were the main challenges for you?
For me in personal, I think it's about time and a really interesting project. For Bayer, the project started in 2010 when Bertrand and Patrick Thomas first met, and they had a long talk and discussed how we can help Solar Impulse. And I think Biomaterial Science is about materials, about innovation, to innovate. So it was a perfect match. Also to maybe have new strategies. So Patrick discussed with Bertrand that we will partner with Solar Impulse, and that's the beginning of our partnering in 2010.
A big challenge. We're talking about an unheated, unpressurized cockpit and a pilot that has to go from high temperatures to low temperatures, and your job really was to make sure that he could survive in this environment.
Correct, yes. And luckily we have one material which fits perfectly because it's lightweighted, and has an amazing insulating capacity. I just have one here. It's polyurethane, so it's a foam, which is really lightweighted. It's 28 kilograms per cubic meter, and insulating value is perfect. So it was the perfect material for a cockpit for Solar Impulse.
To what extent has this been an R&D project for you? Because we always say that we want people on the ground to be able to do what we're doing in the sky.
Polyurethane is already known as a really good insulating material. Our biggest challenge for Solar Impulse, our engineers and our team tried to make it as light as possible. And we had a lot of discussions with André and Bertrand, trying to always be as low in weight as possible. So the polyurethane we already had was good, but not good enough for Solar Impulse. So we made it even lighter, and the cockpit is as light as possible. And I think it's the best we ever have made so far.
But with all the engineers, there's always a certain compromise, isn't there, between having the maximum efficiency and always making sure the plane is as light as possible. And you said that you were told to go back to the drawing board and make it even lighter. Do you have to make compromises elsewhere?
Luckily, we didn't have to make too much compromises. I think in terms of stability, we are on a really good and high level. In terms of insulating, we are on a good level. So for this material, the mesh was perfect. For other materials, we had to make compromises. But for the polyurethane foam, we were a perfect match.
Now, Bernd, I'm sure you've been following this flight, as many people are around the world, and especially the partners, I'm sure. And how has it been for you? Are you watching it tensely? Are you enjoying it? What's the atmosphere for you like?
Every morning I'm checking. In the evening I'm seeing how the flight is going on. I think it's amazing just to see it. I'm also discussing with my colleagues. They're asking me, "Hey, I saw Solar Impulse is now on its way to Hawaii," and so discussion is there. A lot of people are following the flight within Bayer, and they're all enthusiastic and seeing really the big scene behind, and it's just a fascination to see it. And I have a friend of mine also within the Solar Impulse team, and I already got the messages beforehand, and I was really anxious to see the third attempt fulfilled. And it's amazing, just perfect to see it.
Who's your friend in Solar Impulse? Tell us.
Sorry, again?
Who is your friend in Solar Impulse? Tell us who that is.
I don't know if I can disclose her. It's Elke Neumann within communication.
Oh, great. Well, say hi to Elke. I'm sure she's watching.
That's perfect. Hi, Elke. Thanks for all the info and for all the super pictures and everything. It's amazing following Solar Impulse by the webpage, but also by all your infos, Elke. Thank you.
And thank you for letting us steal Elke. We're very happy to have her. And lovely talking to you, Bernd. And keep watching till the end.
Thank you.
And I will also say hi to Elke right now. Hello, Elke, who hopefully is in Hawaii watching this. Okay, we can see André Borschberg live from the cockpit. Let's just go back to our countdown now as well. Let's see how long there is to go until energy neutral morning. It should be coming very short. There you go, just under 2 minutes time till energy neutral morning. And before then, let's have a little chat with another one of our partners. We've got Dr. Jean-Pierre Boss from Hirslanden Clinic, who is checking on the health of the pilot. And you can also check the health of the pilot as well by going to the pilot health widget on solarimpulse.com. Now, we saw you a little earlier. You're here keeping an eye on André during this extremely long flight. And I know that you spent a long time before the flight as well, just trying to think what this would do to the pilot's body and how to minimize the straining effects of being at such high altitude every day. Have you learnt new things by looking at the physical state of the pilot, who to me looks far too healthy to be someone who's been on his own for this long?
Yeah, good evening. I must confess I'm surprised too. I feel that André is looking better from day to day, and he made a joke about his cream supplier. I think it's more than it's a cream supplier. First of all, it's an incredible mood. He has an incredible energy.
He's even taking pictures now outside the cockpit.
And he prepared that flight very well. And of course, from the beginning on in 2008, we were concerned about the sleep problem. We said, how can we handle this? And as we learned from our 72 hours simulation 2 or 3 years ago, we learned that if the pilot is able to sleep 120 to 140 minutes at 24 hours, he's able then to do his job to peak performance. And obviously, that's exactly what happens.
And it doesn't matter if that sleep is broken up into short segments.
No, we learned that in 2008. We had the opportunity, and it was André's idea, to speak to Claudio Stampi, who is a world specialist, and he convinced us, saying that if you sleep 9 hours in a row, or if you sleep 9 hours in polyphasic sleep, it's almost the same. The problem, of course, is that he's woken up every time by a stress.
As you said, an alarm, yes.
He said it now. And if you, like a Spaniard, sleep 20 minutes after your dinner and you're waking up very, very slowly, he's woken up 10, 15 times 24 hours and with a stress push of adrenaline. And this might be a limiting factor we did not consider until now.
Okay,
but hopefully he will not have to fly directly to New York.
Well, let's hope not. And we are in the 4th day, and he's managed to hold up so far. We still have around about 40 hours to go, which is still a very long flight. If we remember that the last flight, which was the longest ever flight in a solar-powered airplane, was 44 hours. And now here we go. We just have 15 seconds to go until we reach this critical point, getting now down to 10 seconds. And once we get to this point, the sun will be doing all of the work in this airplane, powering the plane in the air and also charging up the battery. 3, 2, 1, and There we go. We're into yet another phase. We are officially in Sol 4. We're in the fourth solid day of this flight. The way we calculate the sol days is between energy neutral morning and energy neutral evening. So we're into a brand new phase. And look at this. This is what we wanted to see. The batteries are down to under 30%. So one of them down to just 21.8%. All these green indicators, these green arrows are showing us that now the batteries are all recharging. So we're all very happy. We're in mode 2. The sun is powering the aircraft and charging the batteries. And you can see this on our website, solarimpulse.com, as you can the pilot health indicators and much more information. This is the same information that the pilot himself is getting in the plane right now. Now, talking about these 20-minute sleep periods, Dr. Boss, it's important as well that he manages to get the maximum out of them. He's not just in light sleep or dozing, he's really getting intense sleep. And as you well know, yoga is André's preferred method.
Yes, from the beginning on, he insisted on yoga, he insisted on meditation, and this is very important, especially if the meditation is for us very important, because if you are allowed to have a 20 minutes window to sleep, it depends also of how many minutes it takes you to fall asleep. And meditation is for André, and auto-hypnosis is for Bertrand, a way to fall asleep very quick. So the sleep efficiency is much higher for the two pilots than it would be for you and me.
Well, thank you very much for explaining what it is you're doing here, Dr. Jean-Pierre Boss from Hirslanden Clinic in Lausanne. And to talk a bit more about yoga, we put together a video which explains how André manages to get into these deep sleep states, and you can meet his yogi.
My name is Sanjeev Bhanot, and I'm a yoga teacher for the team. Especially, I'm responsible for the pilots, and I'm going to teach André yoga. For high altitude, there are not going to be a huge amount of major yoga asanas and postures, but they are going to pay attention a little bit to the breathings. They are basically going to look after how their abdominal and diaphragmatic movements are moving there, and they're going to do very mild movements in high altitude. When you're 12,000 without pressure, you are actually cannot do much of a physical work. So that's more like a maintenance sort of movements they're going to do. When the altitude starts dropping, then they would they also have a challenge with the temperature. During the low temperature, we have done kriyas in yoga, which basically allows them to increase the body temperature even when it's -20 outside, to be able to survive that. With high altitude, you would also have a lack of oxygen. So their lung capacity and their body absorption of oxygen needs to be very high. So they are going to do preparatory exercise to be able to deal with the altitude. We have altogether 3 phases. Preparatory phase, where the pilots learn about all the techniques in case and when they need, particularly when they are on different challenges, they can do those movements. That's in a preparatory phase. Then during the flight, we will be also with the Google Hangout, we'll be connected. We will be taking them through different kinds of yoga moves, meditation and exercises and pranayamas. And when they land on the ground, they would have a very little time where they need to be, they have a very limited time where they need to recover very fast, because the flight will continue. So once they come on the ground, they will do the restorative yoga, basically to recover fast. During the flight, pilots go through huge amount of stress. There is a physical stress, there is a mental stress, and then they have to keep their activities completely with all these different machines and equipments and changing weathers and all that. So they need to be very sharp. Then they've got very little time, so almost around 20 minutes of relaxation time. And during that 20 minutes, they have been trained through yoga nidras and through concentration and meditation, that how they do high stressful jobs when it needs with the full focus and full energy. And also then with the meditation and yoga nidra, they would bring themselves completely relaxed and calm, which basically helps them really to stay on the top of the things and deal with the stress. We are not reducing their stress, we are making resilience. They're making more resilient to stress for them. Oh, André loves sun salutation. He really likes the cardiovascular bit of it. During the flight, sun salutation will not be possible, but we have modified sun salutation, which you can do it sitting in the chair. This is the one he's going to do. And because sun is the guiding deity for the whole project, so naturally he's one of the favorite.
And that was André's yogi explaining how André Borschberg manages to get into these deep sleep states in just a 20-minute rest period, and we try and fit in as many of those rest periods as we can within 24 hours. Now, one of the teams we haven't heard much from recently is the ATC team, the Air Traffic Control Team. They're part of the 4 key teams in the mission team here who managed to enable André Borschberg and Bertrand Piccard to take off in solar impulse. We've likened the plane to a snail on the motorway, and it's very hard to ensure that all of the fast-speeding aircraft don't just crash into it or cause any other problems. So this is one of the things that Niklas Gerber, the head of the Air Traffic Control Team, has to contend with. Hello, Niklas.
Hi, thank you for inviting me.
And we're going to need the microphone. There you go. And keep the microphone up there, Niklas.
Yes.
That's better. Are you comfortable, by the way?
Excuse
Are
me?
you comfortable now? Because you had a bit of problem.
Now I'm comfortable, yes.
If we have a chat with management, we'll try and get some sofas here because it gets a bit uncomfortable in these stools after a while. But you're okay now,
Yeah,
then, fine.
okay.
And what I want to talk to you about, well, we'll talk about globally what you do in the air traffic control team. But I think it's important to have a look at this map to my left now, because I love this map because it just illustrates for me some of the complexities you have to deal with. And this is the air traffic control map that you were presented with in Nagoya in Japan. So can you just explain? I mean, it's fairly self-explanatory. Do not enter red zone. So it's not just the weather we have to contend with. You had lots of things to deal with here.
Yeah. If you like this map, for us it was a nightmare. I can be sure for that. So the problem was that we did not plan to land in Japan. So just fly over or fly by. And it was a great challenge for us, but also for the Japanese authorities to let us land first in Nagoya, and then to let us go out from Nagoya.
Because there's so much traffic in Japan.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
incredible. So imagine in this direction, all the traffic from China and from Asia is coming to Tokyo, and especially Tokyo, Nagano, and Osaka. And Okinawa, I think, as well. So everything is going in this direction. And so there's a lot of traffic around Tokyo. I've been there twice, and I have been waiting for for half an hour to be able to land. And so they put this map up, and they had to tell us that we have so many red zones that it will be difficult for us also to get out, because it's not only the red zone. You see, when you see this free space, there are these orange zones, which are military from the Air Force, Japan Air Force and US Air Force zones. We're overlapping. So we're not allowed to go into a red zone. And it was very complicated to coordinate with the Air Force.
Because the civilian air traffic controllers are a different team from the military.
Yes, absolutely.
And they don't necessarily talk to each other.
Yeah, they do. I'm sure they do. They must do, but there is the Ministry of Defense is responsible for these areas, and the Ministry for Industry, Land, and Tourism, Transport is responsible for the civil aircraft, for the civil air traffic. And this needed a lot of coordination between them.
And as you said, the big problem being that we hadn't planned to land here.
Yeah.
In all the other countries you've been in, we were in new territory, places like Burma, like China, that you hadn't dealt with before. With the Chinese airspace, you had Mr. Geng. I hope Mr. Geng is still watching. Hello, we miss you. Hope to see you again. Who was very helpful being here and speaking directly with Beijing, and that smoothed our way across there. But here, you didn't have a Japanese contact, and you had to physically go to Tokyo to speak to the people face to face.
Yeah, exactly. I had a contact since 3 or 4 months. We were discussing together, but for the overflight, not for landing. And it went quite well. But when we had to land there, aborting the first attempt to go to Hawaii, so we had to go there, myself, and with Mr. Borschberg and Mr. Blatt, we had to discuss with these people. And it was 3 or 4 meetings. We had always a translator with us, because they speak not bad English, but to be really precise, they needed to have it in Japanese. And that was quite a big work to do. And we were very happy, very lucky that it was one of the only window which allows us to take the easier way. That means the way to the south, and then this black route was what we have been flying. If it would, the weather would not have permitted us to do this way, we would have
hellish. A north route going through civil and military.
Very, very complicated.
Well, we've been very lucky there. Well, let's head over now to the next map, the Hawaii map. Now, here we're clearly in American airspace. Now, the Americans, you know well, in 2013, the Solar Impulse plane went across America from west coast to east coast. So I know you've got good relationships with America. I presume that helped you negotiating this part of the flight.
Of course, because this part of the States is also under the responsibility of the western part of the United States, which we already explored 2 years ago, and with the same persons of contact. So I had the contact quite easily with Hawaii. And as you see, the map is much easier to look at. And we have some military areas, but it's not so much a problem for us because it's Hawaii who will coordinate that for us. And we have quite a few restrictions for the time. In half an hour, I will have a teleconference with the Hawaiian people, and I'm sure they will set up more restrictions probably, and we will talk about holdings because we will need a holding anyway. But we know already how we will approach Hawaii. That's quite easy.
Occasionally there is US military activity in this wider sector, sometimes missile tests going on, but you're pretty sure that André won't have to take evasive maneuvers.
Yeah, exactly. And the missile shooting has just finished 1 week ago. There were several warning areas over the whole Pacific, over the whole route we had from Nagoya to Hawaii, and they all stopped 1 week ago so we are really free. The airspace of the Pacific was free for us, and we very much like that.
Well, it's hard enough dodging clouds. We don't want to have to dodge missiles as well. Yeah. Niklas Gerber, thank you very much from our air traffic control team. And, well, we will be speaking to you again. We've got quite a few flights to go, so I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to speak to you or to Yves-André or Martin, and who knows, maybe even Mr. Gang.
We never know.
Okay, thank you very much, Niklas.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I said earlier to André Borschberg and Deniz that they should start changing their mobile phones now, because when André lands in Hawaii, the media attention is going to be huge. And already now, this far into the flight, the press interest has picked up as you'd expect, and we've had the chance to put together a little press review to give you an idea of the action.
With the plane back in the air after several weeks stuck on the ground, the press phones are ringing again. On the whole, the media are concentrating on the many aviation records we keep on pulverizing, the sterling piloting skills of André Borschberg, and the revolutionary clean tech that keeps this unique plane in the sky. Starting with the big guns, the BBC's Rebecca Morel picks up on our crossing of the first weather front of the flight. The Beeb also put together their own infographics to allow newbies to understand what we're all doing here. Fox News gets its teeth into the record-breaking aspects of the flight. André Borschberg has now piloted the longest ever solar-powered flight in terms of distance and duration, humiliating the previous record holder, André Borschberg. And to our friends at Fox, André is officially now in a no-go zone, but we're confident he'll get out of it, inshallah. National Geographic gives us an interview with André, highlighting the high-risk nature of the flight. After all, this leg roughly follows the path on which famed American aviator Amelia Earhart disappeared 77 years ago. On this attempt, however, we have a full team of experts here in Monaco doing their utmost to ensure André makes it safe and sound in Hawaii. My favourite question of this article is, how are you able to sleep while you're flying alone over this isolated stretch of ocean? Do you wake up and have a mini freak-out? He doesn't, by the way. Freak out, that is. And the last word goes to our new local media, Pacific Business News, which is looking forward to our landing in Hawaii, reminding me to practice my pronunciation of the airport, Kalialoa, and the island, Oahu.
I wasn't expecting the music. That was lovely. Let's have a bit more of that. Can we have more I can still hear it. That's nice. Oh, they've turned it up again. Kalialoa. Kalialoa.
Kalialoa.
Go on, Vincent. Oahu.
Oahu.
Okay, we put more emotion.
Oahu.
That's good. Thank you very much. And if you don't like our pronunciation, I know we've been speaking to a few people from Hawaii. One of them even offered to organize the welcome dance as well. So if you're watching, I think it's Joy, isn't it? Joy, I hope you've got in touch with the team in Hawaii. We would love to see you dancing. And if we can have more of this music, then we'll all be very, very happy. We need to pump more of it into the cockpit as well to keep André happy. Right, let's get back to the business. Future is clean. We can see it here. I want concrete actions for a clean future. We say it every day, and we still think it's true. And we're talking about the United Nations Climate Conference. We want Solar Impulse and Future is Clean to be a big part of that conference in Paris in December. Is that a good summing up?
Perfect. I have nothing to add.
Okay, speak to you soon. Goodbye. No, you do. That's not true. You do have something else to say. UNEP.
Exactly. We just had the confirmation today that the United Nations Environment Programme is backing Future is Clean. We're going to announce it soon, so we're really happy. It's like a huge new announce for us.
This is a scoop,
yeah,
live
exactly.
on SiTV. Thank you very much.
I'm happy to provide you something to
Thanks for the content. I know I was struggling, you know, there was nothing else to talk about, but that's good news. Okay, and this is just one of many new patrons, new sponsors who've been joining Future is Clean.
Exactly. Now we're reaching 150 organizations, and every day we have new joining, so it's really exciting to see that as this flight is carrying on, we have new organizations.
Now, this is a lovely part of the site as well. Oh, it's gone. It was good. Let's go back to that, all those videos. Go on, go on, go on. Go on, we're going to do it. Come on, come on.
We can see
Nearly
the whole
there.
website.
There we go, there we go, there we go. This is great. So tell us about this board. Who are these people?
This is a mosaic of paper plane videos we received. People who have been shooting and sharing those videos on social media using the hashtag #FutureIsClean, and they appear here. We do nothing; it's just automatic. And the idea is to see the support of people all around the world who are sending those messages, those paper plane videos. And here you click on one and you see it. This one is from Turkey. This guy really loves this street.
It's always a girl in a bikini on the ones you choose, Vincent. It's interesting.
You know.
There are loads to look at, and as you say, it's all part of the paper plane challenge. So there's another one. And what we've been doing is putting together some edits, putting together some little videos as well. And look, why don't we just show it now?
You want to see the best of video?
Yeah, come on, let's see it now. Okay, this is the new paper planes video.
Can you catch it? That's the latest Paper Planes challenge video on Future is Clean, futureisclean.org, and we want you all to sign up. Hundreds well, 150. It's in the hundreds now. We're in the second 100. Okay, just leave it. There are lots of partner organizations taking part already, and many of you as well. futureisclean.org, and make sure you sign up. I agree, and you want concrete actions for a cleaner future. Well, who wouldn't? Then go to the website and sign up now. Lots of activity on social media. This is also under your purview, Vincent, looking at Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram, Periscope as well. We see Valentine wandering around here and organizing a rival live broadcast.
She has more success, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the most galling thing about it as well. But anyway, the more the merrier. And, well, here we go. Look, we see Twitter. And this is one of the fans that we've recently noticed. It's actually a shark, Joe the Shark. And I think Martin Save, our cartoonist, can explain who Joe the Shark is and what he's doing.
Well, he's a really cool shark. I mean, he was born in the Pacific. His dad was actually really famous into Hollywood movies. And now he's trying to eat André because André might fall in the water, and he's waiting for that.
Yeah, and he's trying lots of different ways to try and convince André that he should fall into his mouth. We're calling it a pilot and carbon fiber casserole. We can see some now. There you go. This is my favorite Joe the Shark plan.
Yeah,
Didn't
so
work.
actually, because the weather was so good, he tried to make a cloud to make him fall and block the sun. But it didn't work, though. André is still up in the air.
And because André is Swiss, he tried raclette. No, it was a fondue, wasn't it? Has it got the fondue there somewhere?
It was a fondue. Yeah, that was me.
There we go. God, he's everywhere, isn't he?
He's got a pilot license.
I like that. A sexy shark as well to try and tempt André.
The wahine. Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't work either, did it? You've been non-stop, hundreds. We saw you yesterday during the show. The show went on so long that Paul Martin had drawn a book by the time we got to the end. And I'm hoping we can see some of those pictures right now.
Of course, like Joe's going to post them once in a while. I was supposed to do one drawing, but then the show was so long and you took so much time that I had to do 10.
Okay, so there you go. Joe the Shark is now dominating your life. Is that your arm, is it?
It is.
Yes. Okay.
You recognize it?
It's very, very good.
But maybe there is one, like a bit below. Someone is flying above the Pacific Ocean and is asking if they can spot André and Joe the Shark. So there is really something happening, and people are sending a lot of ideas to catch André. So
Okay,
we'll see how it goes.
Send your ideas in as well to us, and Martin will pick them up. You had some loads of good ideas that were sent in by the people following Solar Impulse already.
And I have to precise something. We are not Joe the Shark. I mean, he's his own person and he has his own Twitter. We're not behind all this.
Yes, Paul Martin, he actually believes this as well. That's sad. Okay, so more ideas, whether it's for Joe the Shark or any other ideas for Martin's cartoons, which have been wonderful so far. And you can send them in to us. Just go to solarimpulse.com. You'll find all the details of how to contact us. Or you can just go straight to Twitter, #SolarImpulse, or of course, that's my cue for you.
Future is clean.
#Future is clean. Thank you very much, Vincent. Thank you very much, Martin. And we will be back, of course, because the flight isn't over yet. We've still got a long way to go, around about 40 hours of this flight left. Our next SiTV update will be at 0:30 UTC in the middle of Sol Day 4. I'm about to get a paper plane in my face. Let's have a look. Just missed. Thank you very much, Maxine. Thanks for watching Solar Impulse TV, and we will be back, as I said, at 0:30 UTC.